Hi guys, it's Matt with Silderman Solutions. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. So today's video, I'm going to do a quick SEO focused website audit. And hopefully what you can learn from this is pick up some tools or some things that you can use on your own to get some quick wins for your website. So as many of you guys know, I'm part of the Future Pro group, and we do a lot of sharing in there, and somebody reached out and said, hey, listen, I haven't done any SEO. Uh, can you give me some pointers? And so I said, you know what, I usually create a screencast to be more personal anyway, and to make sure I get my point across. And I said, well, if it's all right with you, I'd like to share it with my audience. And so he agreed, and so here we are. Okay, so I spoke with David, or my contact is David, and the company's name is Akomplis. And like I said, I was going to give him 5 things that he could improve on, really quick wins and ways to improve his SEO. So right now I'm kind of just going to talk through with you what goes through my mind when I'm looking at a website for the first time. So actually what I do is I come and I get the URL right away, and I plug it into my campaigns in Moz. Okay, so you may not you may not pay for as expensive a tool as this, but basically one of the very first things I do is I run a site crawl. And what that does is it checks for a whole bunch of different errors, broken pages, issues with repetitions of titles being too long or too short, or no titles written, or in this case missing H1 tags, HTML tags, or duplicate content or other things. In this case, one of the things that the crawler found is that the meta description was too short, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Something else that I do is I often go to GTmetrix and I run a report on the page speed, and I will get to that in a minute as well. So let's take a look at the top 5 things that I am recommending here. Number 1 is analytics, and I'll come back to all of these. Analytics, optimizing their meta descriptions or page descriptions. I'm going to recommend that they use more writing on their website, to fix the footer widget, which has not been set up, and page speed issues. So let's just take a quick walk through the website, and I'll point out some things. So this is basically kind of like a one-page website, and you can see the description says they do motion graphic, motion design through strategic thinking. And so it looks like they've had the opportunity to work with some really good companies. And so basically what happens is this portfolio website, when you click on something like this, what happens is it loads up, and then it's actually loads up top here. I don't know why it doesn't take you there right away, but this is what loads up. And so anyway, I was scrolling down. You can't really see this because of the video modules in the way, but I said, oh, I wonder what this plus sign is, right? So I clicked on this, and lo and behold, here's their footer widget, and they have not set it up. So that's one of my recommendations is, Google can tell when this is incomplete like this, when it has the placeholder text or the lorem ipsum text. And if your user stumbles upon that, it makes you look less professional. And certainly, as I said, it hurts your SEO. Now you can tell, listen, this is a high quality company. They've worked with some really recognizable brands, but that little bit there, and certainly not everybody is a website expert or a website designer, but fixing their footer widget would definitely improve. And I should pause and say that these days, all of SEO should be filtered through an understanding that user experience is very important. So everyone comes to Google for answers, right? Now we have, well, make Google do it, right? Well, if Google can't solve their problems just extremely quickly or give them the best answers extremely fast, then Google will go out of business, because they make all their money from advertising, basically, or the majority of their money. So you have the opportunity to rank highly in search if you are solving the user's problem and providing the best user experience. And so something like that footer widget hurts you because it's going to annoy the user. It makes you look unprofessional, and then as a result, it hurts your SEO. All right. So while I was on the website, I have a couple of little plugins that I use and check. And one of them is Google Tag Assistant. And it basically said, hey, you don't have Google Analytics running on this site. And so I would just say, how do you know what's working in your marketing if you're not tracking that, right? How do you know where your visitors are coming from? It'll also tell you, if you're having problems on your website. So let's see, that covers two of the things we were talking about. Let's talk about, while we're on the website, let's talk about more writing. I think it's pretty standard now that people know this, but I'll go over it just in case you don't. And that is that Google cannot really read pictures or movies. It reads pictures by the file name or the alt text, and that's how it knows what the picture is about, but it can't necessarily see a picture yet. Same thing with movies. It can read the file name. It can read oftentimes people will include transcripts of movies to let Google know what the movie was about, and it reads the text surrounding the files so it gets an idea. But one of the ways that they can improve here is by adding a bigger description than just this, right? Describing the project and the tools that they used and perhaps what the client asked for and how they responded, and maybe turning some of these into case studies a little bit while using some of those important keywords would be very helpful. Okay, let's go back to our list. All right, let's talk about meta descriptions. So meta description or page description, you may not know what that is. It's basically the highlighted text here that I have. Okay, so this is the title of your page. This is the URL. This is the meta description. Now, when I ran the crawler for Moz, it basically said that they have the same exact meta description for every single one of their pages, and it just says strategic design thinking. This is a missed opportunity because so this text here you can customize, and basically Google looked at what they wrote and said it's not good enough, and they actually just took some writing from their homepage to put it here because they felt that was better. But this is an opportunity to compel the reader to visit your website, to optimize your copy so well that the reader is really interested in what you have to say and they want to go and check out your website. So it's a missed opportunity for all of those web pages that nothing is written. And listen, you don't even have to be, the best copywriter to just write more and describe more than just strategic design thinking. But basically, you want to interest the reader, encourage the reader, so that they are interested and they want to find out what you're offering. Okay, and so they click the link. Excuse me. All right, let's see what we got. So we did analytics, meta description. What I should have also mentioned when you include more writing is to include more location data. So in the search results, we find out that they are based in Vancouver. And if you go to the bottom of the site all the way down, it does tell us once again that they're based in Vancouver. But other than that, there's not really enough location data. And so if they're an expert on this type of work in Vancouver, we want to let Google know that, right? So that was one of the things I forgot. We talked about project description. We talked about the footer widget. Let's talk about the last thing, page speed. Okay, now, so here's their page speed performance. And for a small website like that, 1.7 seconds is a lot. Normally, 1.7 seconds isn't too bad. But basically what they're telling you with these scores is that there's a lot that can be done, and actually pretty easily, to increase their page speed. And so you don't have to be too extremely technical to fix some of these things. Like this one's easy, serving scaled images, right? And that just basically means that you're not going to have if you're using a tiny little thumbnail, or if you're only showing a tiny little thumbnail, but the image is, large enough to take up a full-size screen, then it really could be cut down, and you can increase your page speed that way. I'm sorry that even your images, right? It's indicating the images are just too much, and those two things are just very easy to do. Certainly, you can get other plugins to help you as well. But anyway, so this running that report and looking into this is a great way to start. And I will be giving David some links and some tips for further reading. And again, you know what? I'll include it in the notes for you guys as well in case you run into a similar problem and you want to solve that. I'll include some links out to further reading. All right, guys, I hope this has been helpful. Sometimes it really is just about hitting the low-hanging fruit, especially if you're not an expert. So after you've hit the low-hanging fruit, if you need help, feel free to reach out, and I can give you some resources and get you hooked up with the right people or get the job done for you. All right? All right, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys later.